And now it's my pleasure to introduce Scott Siepker to you. Many of you will recognize Scott from his videos. He's a lifelong Iowan. He's passionate about our home state. We're passionate at ABI about Iowa, and that's why Scott is a terrific speaker for us today. He grew up just northwest of Carroll in western Iowa. He graduated from Iowa State University, and it was in 2012 that he released Iowa Nice, and the video made a national hit, an impact really during the 2012 caucus season. It's garnered more than 1 million hits, page views on YouTube, and turned Iowa Nice Guy into a local celebrity. And I've heard him on the radio and seen him on television, a great guy. Since then, Scott has gone on to produce Hawkeye and Cyclone versions of the Iowa Nice video, and even a Wrestling Nice video. He is also involved with the Iowa Filmmakers Production Company. He does a segment about college football for ESPN, and again, he's passionate about Iowa, which makes him perfect for us. Please welcome Scott Siepker, the Iowa Nice Guy.
Hello, everybody. Whoa! I am Scott Siepker, and I want to thank you for having me today. You heard a little bit about my bio, but first I just want to start off by saying I'm a theater kid, so I need to talk directly to the camera. Camera, I could project my voice throughout this beautiful theater, but because of you, I need to talk into this microphone so that you on the video can hear me. So I just want to let you know I can do it, all right? That's on the record now. I told people that they might be careful because if you don't like Shakespeare, I may do that. In this beautiful theater, to be or not to be would be an epic monologue to give. But then I look over here and I just want you to know I walked up the aisle here. I hear that Mike Rowe is actually going to come through a zip line from that balcony. If you know Mike the way I do, which is not at all, he's a zip line kind of guy. Is it just me, or is it do I find it strange that whenever I look over here at a beautiful theater like this, and I see this little outcropping of a seating arrangement, that I think of Abraham Lincoln and that little incident with John Wilkes Booth? Very strange, 1865, I feel like it was yesterday, and I wasn't even there. Is it inappropriate to call places like that in a theater the Lincoln booth? For those of you that were offended by that 1865 joke, you probably need to get a life. No offense, no offense. You're probably wondering, why is this guy up here rambling? Well, you heard a little bit. They call me the Iowa Nice Guy. It's one of my personas. I'm an actor, doing a lot of things, traveling around the state. I just got done in May doing the epic Iowa road trip. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's hear it. Clap for me even if you didn't know about that. Yeah! I should have said this at the top. I am not above pity claps and laughs. I heard that possibly the epic Iowa Windstar bus, Go Carroll, was here and maybe transferred some people over to the beautiful Paramount Theater here. Did anybody ride in the epic Iowa road trip bus? Yeah, you did. It's a beautiful bus. It's wrapped. It's got beautiful pictures of Iowa. I've said beautiful 14 times already in this speech. And I just want to say, anybody on that bus, I was on that bus for 9 days, so I apologize for the smell that I'm sure is still residing there. But thank you for taking that bus anyway and promoting Iowa. So I'm supposed to talk about, I'll bring it over here so everybody can see. They didn't tell me I could do this, so I apologize to whoever made this. General session Oh, wow. Oh no, I'm starting to bald. This is bad. I've never seen this version of myself. This is bad. Oh no, I knew about the front, but I didn't know about that. Look at that. Oh. Is there any made in Iowa toupee companies here? Ah! Okay, well, I might have to take a selfie with my bald pattern there. Okay, or soon to be. Made in session, made in Iowa. So I have to be honest, I did grow up in Carroll County. And I don't know if I can actually speak here today because even though I was born in Carroll, my parents were long-haul truck drivers. And so I don't know if I was made in Iowa or not. You know, I honestly don't know. I haven't had the bravery to go back and look through my father's logbooks. I like to think maybe it was Hollywood, California, or a tent somewhere in Montana. But I don't know. Just so you know, that is, I don't know if that was a prerequisite, then I don't know. You can discount everything I say. But I can start off by saying on December 27th, 1982, at St. Anthony's Hospital in Carroll, I was born. But it was eventful. See, there was an ice storm that night, and I decided I'm going to come anyway. So my dad drives my mom to the hospital. Well, the power got knocked out in Carroll County because of the ice storm. Well, that's fine. They have generators. Even though it's 1982, there's still generators. Think about this just for a second. This is something that blows my mind. There's been more time that has passed between now and 1980 than between 1980 and 1950. Back to the story. I also should say that I'm known for getting off topic and going long-winded. I just did a interview with Bryce Miller of the Des Moines Register that now is video. It's newspaper, but it's video. And it was supposed to be a 7-minute interview, and I went for 20 minutes. So somebody stop me if I have. Yeah, you got me. All right, Mike's got me. Back to the story. So the electricity's knocked out in Carroll County, but that's no problem because it's 1982 and there's a generator. Well, my mom's in the middle of giving birth to me, and the generator broke. Yeah, that's true. And so the doctor, thankfully, decided that he'd bring in flashlights. And so I was a baby born by flashlight. No joke, Des Moines Register has a headline that says, "Baby born by flashlight in Carroll." And I just have to say, maybe I was destined to go into acting since I came into this world in the spotlight. Woo! That's a good one. But it is true, I'm totally serious. That actually happened. The generator broke, and I was born by flashlight. And that started my time in Carroll County. And went to Christ the King and Breda and Mount Carmel. Anybody know about them? Yeah, all right. Go Crusaders. Then I was the only person to do this. For some reason, I switched to the public school. Went to Carroll High. Go Tigers. And there I saw some FFA people. Can I hear you? Yeah, I was in the FFA for 1 year because I decided I want to be a veterinarian. And why did I do that? Because one day it was, I need to dress up as what I want to be for my life. And the only costume I really had was a stethoscope and a stuffed animal. So I picked that to be a veterinarian, took my agriculture classes with the FFA. And well, as you can see now, that didn't quite work out for me. But I still have the jacket, and I wear it sometimes on Halloween. And it still fits. But I had more hair. So I went on to Iowa State to be in psychology. And the reason I did that is because I never really had any girlfriends. And I wanted to have a girlfriend, but the girls just saw me as a friend. And so this happened, and I got really good at listening on the phone for hours and hours. And so I thought, I could do this for a living. Psychology it is. So I went to Iowa State, did my first year, and then I got this hankering. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to do a college play. So I decided I'm going to take Acting 1 at Iowa State. And I was terrible, really terrible. And I took the class anyway, and somehow the teacher decided that he saw something in me, and he got me into Christmas Carol. And I had 3 lines. And I thought it was the biggest deal ever. A 3-hour play where I had 3 lines. And thankfully, my parents, they came all the way from Carroll, and they watched me in this play. And my dad hates that type of thing. See, my parents are blue collar. My mom worked for 20 years at the Carroll Can Redemption Center. That's right, counting and sorting cans, which she wrote me into doing for 4 years when I wasn't in school. That sounded like I dropped out of school. During the times when I wasn't in school at the daytime. So I'd go there mostly in the summers. She worked hard doing that. She now actually works at Hy-Vee in Carroll, doing the flower area. What is that called? The florist area, or the garden area, whatever. And my dad, when I was 1 year old, quit working for Allied long-haul truck moving vans and got hired as one of the first people at a little factory in Carroll called Pella. Yeah! And he worked there for 30 years. Unfortunately, he passed away this last year to leukemia. And I say that not for sad purposes, but we went ahead and for self-promotional purposes, because he'd like that I would do this, we made a video called Hey Cancer, where we can't show that today. There's too much swearing going on. But it kind of sums up. And if I can piggyback a little bit off of what Aaron Thomas did last night, and this has nothing to do exactly with the speech, but I think it'll make everybody here better people and better businessmen, is my dad and I, we didn't have a relationship where we told each other we loved each other, that we knew it, but we didn't say it. Until finally, in his final days, we actually were able to look each other in the eye and say, I love you. And that moment will be burned in my brain, and it meant so much to me. And I hope it meant so much to him as well. And so, to make yourselves better people and better businessmen and just all around awesome Iowans, I highly recommend to tell the people you love that you love them. It can be very awkward. I'm still not great at it, but it's something that will pay back over and over and over again. Now, I will step off of my soapbox and get back to the store. So my dad worked at Pella. He cut a lot of wood to make windows, right? I called him a window maker. He called himself Zip. That was his nickname, Zippy Zip. And so the smell of sawdust still makes me think of him and makes me think of the 2 summers I spent working at Pella. I worked in accessory pack out, and if you don't know what that is, these beautiful Pella windows that are made there and all over Iowa, they have all these accessories that go with them. The little turny deals, the little clippy deals, the little screen deals, all these little trinkets. And so an order would come in, and this is before Amazon in a lot of ways. We were doing what Amazon is doing now, because Iowans, we set the precedent. I would go around with my little gun, see on a piece of paper, oh, one of those clippy deals. I need 3 of those. And I'd run, click, that's my gun, okay, and I run back, not running actually, because that's not safe, but for the sake of the story, there'd be a box that would be what felt like going at warp speed. I'd have to get it in the box before it got to the guy at the end who did nothing but staple the boxes together, and he was really good at it. He was also very passionate about it, and if you screwed up that box at the beginning and you stapled it wrong, he was mad. So I throw all these items in there, boom, boom, boom. And that was my job for 2 summers. And I made $8 an hour, and I paid myself by all that savings went in to buying a computer, a Dell computer that now looks like a living room. But it's something about being in that situation where there's no air conditioning in the middle of the summer that teaches you something. And my parents knew that. They made me work at the Carroll Can Redemption Center, where I smelt like the inside of a rotten beer can, to working at Pella, just sweating. I almost said something inappropriate, sweating a lot. And I had to sacrifice some things. I didn't get to go do everything I wanted to do, like go to all the high school baseball games or whatever. But I'm glad that happened, because it's made me appreciate all the things now that I get to do. And it instilled in me the hard work it takes to get to do the things that you want to do. More on that later. Back to the story, go to Iowa State. And I started doing acting, and I have to say, I am definitely a made-in-Iowa actor. I got one role where I was playing the father in Little Women. Anybody know that story? And this doesn't make sense. I know, a father, me, I have children, all this sort of things when I'm 22, but it's college theater, so you just, put up with it. And so I go ahead, and I have to come out on stage at Fisher Theater at Iowa State and pick up my daughter, Beth, who has just died of scarlet fever, or yellow fever, somebody correct me, Louisa May Alcott. Scarlet fever, not to be confused with the Scarlet Letter, Nathaniel Hawthorne. See, sometimes I just like to show off all of the nonsense I know. Not that, sorry, Nathaniel Hawthorne, not saying that your novel is completely boring and totally overrated. Never mind. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about that. So I have to come out and carry Beth off. And I, at this point, am very young at acting. And I think that a good actor, when he's carrying his dead daughter off stage and delivering one line, or Beth is now home, is the line, that he should cry. Well, it turns out Scott wasn't a good enough actor to cry. So before I would come on, I would hide back behind the walls of the stage. I'd look around, and then I'd pull out of my left breast pocket eye drops. Boop, 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 boop. Well, those eye drops sound a lot like that gun I had at Pella, doesn't it? Bloop, 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 bloop. And then I come on, and I have these tears streaming down my face, and I pick up Beth. And I have to say that Beth was about the same size as me. So her butt is pretty much on the ground. And I have fake tears streaming down my face, and I look, the piano is right over here on stage, right? And I look, because she plays piano, or did. Oops. Sorry, Beth. I look dramatically, holding Beth there. Our Beth is finally home. And I'm dragging her, and I get off, and one time this really happened, I banged her head against the side of the set. Sorry, Patty Stringer. And after that, I wasn't cast in anything for a year. But the hard work I was learning, working those blue-collar jobs that I did, taught me that, you know what, Scott, you just got to keep working at it. And so I did. I started to steal from the best. As my professor told me, that was one of his mottos, steal from the best, which he stole from Michael Caine. Steal from the best. And he probably stole from somebody else, but that is absolutely true. Whatever line of industry you're in, wherever part of life, steal from the best. Steal from the best. And so I did. I started following these guys around who were really funny, figuring out how they were funny, doing everything I could. Flash forward to when I finally have been establishing myself as an actor. And we're doing, I formed this film company, Iowa Filmmakers, made up of 3 Iowans, Paul Benedict from Pocahontas, Brendan Dunphy from Walcott, Wilton, sorry. And there's no I-80 truck stop in Wilton. But there's a great ice cream place. And so we filmed that, and we got together to film a narrative piece called Valentine Road about Iowa during Prohibition, because we made awesome alcohol. We all know that, right? We've got some really awesome alcohol that's made now here in Iowa. Mississippi River Distillery, Cedar Ridge, obviously Templeton Rye. It's great. It's part of our heritage in a lot of ways. So it was a Valentine Road. That was way too expensive. Turns out to do a period piece in the 1930s cost millions of dollars, which we didn't have. So we started to do these little smaller things, these 2-minute videos. And we eventually got to Iowa Nice. And the way Iowa Nice worked is that Paul was listening to the radio, and there was a report going on during the caucus season about what Iowa is. And everything they were saying was completely wrong. They were pretty much just saying that we're just agriculture-based, which is not true. We have a very proud agriculture base. We're very proud of it. It's part of the fabric of Iowa. But we do a lot more. Insurance, manufacturing, tons of great things. And so Paul started writing this script, but Paul's a very good Christian man, and he doesn't really swear. So he thought, who do I know who's okay with swearing? That's me. He sent the script over to me, and Andrew, if you want to get this ready, and I was laughing so hard I was crying. Now, if anybody hasn't seen the Iowa Nice video, we're going to show it to you right now to give you an idea of what we were doing and where we've come from there. And so, God, there it is. It's still there. This is terrible. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is Iowa Nice. Yeah. I promise. This is it. Thank you.
So I hear you think you know something about Iowa. You heard we're a bunch of knee-jerk conservative reactionaries. I guess that's why we went Democratic in 5 out of the last 6 presidential elections. How you like me now? Did your state legalize gay marriage before us? Probably not. The first woman in America to become a lawyer was in Iowa in 1869. You think we're all hillbillies? Well, 4 out of 5 of us live in the cities, punk. What about farmers, you say? You think farmers are hillbillies? Sit down, son. One Iowa farmer feeds 155 of you. Do you like to eat? Looks like it. You think farming is easy? The average Iowa farm is larger than 300 football fields. It takes a fleet of tricked out machines and a shit ton of ag science to make it all work. How tough is your job? Don't answer. You look like you could use a break.
Iowa has the 6th lowest unemployment in the nation. Des Moines was ranked the richest metro in the country and the 2nd happiest. Guess you can't have it all. Playa.
So stop worrying about what we know and spend a little more time on what you don't know. And next time you fly over, give us a wave. We'll wave back. We're nice.
That's right. We're nice. Wad. I'm out. One more thing. You're probably watching this on a computer. Any guesses as to where it was invented? New York, MIT, California. Think again.
Thank you. It's been a while since I watched that. It gave me goosebumps again. Just knowing what happened after that. It was something that's always in our consciousness when we put that out. We were just, most of us, too nice to say it. And it's something that it makes me very passionate, is to set right the misstereotypes of Iowa. And so after that video, it really blew up. We got to be on MSNBC, CNN, BBC, did all of these different interviews. And what was interesting is it sure felt like when we were doing these interviews that the people conducting the interview were trying to make me look like what they think Iowans are, which is not very educated, kind of a hillbilly. And one moment stands out to me specifically because they were trying to ask all these questions that had nothing to do with the video. That's why they wanted to have me on, to talk about the video. Well, for instance, the CNN International video, interview, it was an 8-minute interview. I didn't realize that. Maybe that's my fault. But we were spending maybe 2 minutes on the video, and then they got into all of these kind of technical questions. They were asking me about, for instance, Ron Paul's position in Iran, and about his third-party possible candidacy that would have, and unfortunately, they picked on the wrong Iowan. Because as you may have been able to tell, I love presidential history. So as soon as she brought out third party, I broke out the election in 1912. Yeah. And I told her all about my friend Woodrow Wilson, all about my friend William Howard Taft, and all about my friend Teddy Roosevelt running as a bull moose candidate. And I have to say, as soon as that interview was over, the producer sent me an email and said, "Whoa." And I'm not unique. We have great education here, and we work really hard. And so we went on from that, kind of got a name for ourselves. We ended up doing a TV pilot called Marooned about actors from the coast who get stuck in Iowa after the tax credit scandal. And that was a way for us to poke fun at ourselves, but also get around the point. The character I was playing, the character Brendan was playing, were stuck in Iowa, but the whole process of the show was for them to figure out how awesome Iowa is. Unfortunately, things like that need a lot of money, so we have a pilot episode. If you want to check it out, it's on our YouTube channel. It's very funny. But we went on and we ended up doing Hawkeye and Cyclone Ice in that kind of same way in August. And ESPN took note. They emailed us and said, hey, do you think it would be okay if we played Hawkeye and Cyclone Ice on our show? Oh, of course. They came back the next day after they had played them. I said, that went over really well with our audiences. Do you think maybe you could create original content for us once a week about college football? Of course. So we did. That was week 6 of last season, not 2 seasons ago. And they came back to us and said, hey, that went really well after week 1. Do you think you could do 2 original pieces about college football for us? Of course. And so we went ahead and we did that for the first year. We did 2 of them. And people ask me, where do you film that? Are you moving to Charlotte or Connecticut? No. We're filming right here in Iowa. Yeah. And you see the place where I ate the cake, or I had my cake and ate it too, that's where we film now. Now our friends, Rebecca and Louis DeWild, didn't realize that it was going to be a 3-year investment when they said we could film there the first time. But they've been wonderful. So we filmed there, and now with the power of the internet, we can film it here with all Iowa people, all Iowa talent, and we just upload it to the FTP site, and then every Wednesday on a national broadcast, we promote the state of Iowa, Iowa State University, University of Iowa. We picked up Northern Iowa this year, and most importantly, we make fun of Nebraska. I've often said that if I ever run for governor, the thing I'll do on day 1 is I will order, as commander-in-chief of the Iowa military, to go over and do a little Vladimir Putin and annex Omaha. Because a city that exciting should not be in a state that boring. I kid. Nebraska people have been mostly great. And they've appreciated it. There's a few who don't get the joke, but nevertheless. And so we went ahead and did that. And people are amazed, especially people outside of the state, to realize it blows their mind that we film here and it's on the very next day on national TV. We've even done a few live uploads where we just, boom, moment there, we're on national TV. And that is not something new for Iowans. We have been on the forefront of technology, hence what's called the computer. We made it at Iowa State University, at Annapolis and Berry. We also contributed to the Manhattan Project. How many world wars has your state won? And so we went ahead and did that, and it's been really exciting to see how it grows. We went off and we did something that's important. Mike touched on it a little bit. Something that's important to the fabric of Iowa is wrestling. And I think that has something to do with our work ethic here. And so we went off and we shot a lot of it in LA, because we got our friends Tom Arnold, very great Iowan who's become a friend of mine. And he is friends with Jay Moore. And so there's a scene in there where we have Jay Moore naked. It works really well. You should watch it. And he does a little song, a little dance. And we, I have to say, Iowans saved Olympic wrestling. Now, I take myself, egotistically, I want to give myself all the credit in the world, but it was the leadership of Iowans like Dan Gable and Tom Brands and Tom Arnold and others recruiting outside the state to get Olympic wrestling to stay in the Olympics. And that has been awesome to be able to make those connections. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, for far too long, Iowa has been exporting its greatest resource, which is its people. Too often, our young people like me are leaving. That needs to stop, and luckily it is stopping. People say like somebody like Tom Arnold, I'm just looking at my industry, acting, Tom Arnold, Ron Livingston, Michael Emerson. Great actors, done a lot. But they left Iowa. I'm committed to staying here and proving everybody outside this state wrong, and some inside the state that say, to make it in the film industry, you need to leave Iowa. No, you don't. Yes. This is bold. Nobody's done it. John Wayne left too, okay? It was a different time, though. I don't blame those guys for leaving. They had to. But now we don't have to. We can stay here. And I want to set a precedent for people to say, even if you're an artist, Iowa is a great hub to cultivate that. The way we cultivate our agriculture, we can cultivate our artists. And we can cultivate all of our small businesses, turn our small businesses into medium businesses, our medium businesses into large businesses, and get our big, large industries into even bigger world-class industries. And that is happening. And I want to encourage all of you to do what I'm doing, which is commit to Iowa. I'm sure that many of you in this room have heard, you need to leave Iowa. You could make a lot more money. You could leave Iowa and do a whole bunch of other stuff, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? There are reasons to stay in Iowa that aren't completely tangible. There's the intangibleness. Like how hard we work. We work really hard, and that's instilled into us early on. Our loyalty is something that's awesome. I couldn't do what I'm doing. I say there's no luck in Iowa. There's just the generosity of Iowans, which that is Iowa luck. Yes. Everything I've done has been on the backs of Iowans saying, Scott, let me help you. I'll do that. Oh, yeah, I don't need anything in return. Let me help you make your dreams come true. If I were in LA or New York, it's cutthroat. And I'm not saying all those people are bad. They're not. They're good people. But they're not Iowa good people. And there's something to be said for that. And there's the tangibles too, of course. Our economy is better than most states. We have a good education system. There's so many of all that stuff that you know. But at the end of the day, it's those intangibles that make me want to stay here. Also, I have to say, I have driven in LA. And when I come back, I want to make out with I-235. It is so expansive and freeing, and there's nobody else there. Really, it's so funny. I always think, I live in Des Moines, and I think, oh man, I don't want to drive that 15 minutes all the way to West Des Moines. And then I'm driving Tom Arnold around in LA after we filmed our little piece for Wrestling Nice, and I'm driving, and he's playing, or he's doing work on iPad. Sorry, Tom, if you're listening, I didn't mean to say you were playing on your iPad. You were doing work. And so he wasn't paying attention. I thought I knew what I was doing. But I missed one turn, and it added 90 minutes to our drive. Because the Dodger game just got out. Yeah, I can drive from here to Minneapolis or Kansas City in the time it took Tom to drive from Beverly Hills to Dodger Stadium. That traffic's terrible. We don't have that here. So anyway, that's a little bit of that's one of those tangible things that I love about Iowa, is that our traffic is not traffic. And I love the traffic that builds up behind the tractors. That makes me feel good. And then you get to do the one finger wave. Hey, what's up? No matter if it's a John Deere or International, whatever, you just, what's up? But the farmers don't say what's up. There's, what's up? No, that was me again. There we go. Okay. So I'm not a very good farmer impressionist, clearly. And so I guess if there are any questions, I'll open it up to a few at this point. But the takeaways are, Iowa is a great place to be. I hope you all do what I'm doing. Be okay with doing business outside the state, but let's keep everybody here and start importing more talent than we're exporting, okay? Yes, and something that one of the things that I do that I always keep in mind, and I highly recommend this, is that I surround myself with talented people, and then I ask for help. So every pothole you come to in the road of your hopes and dreams is going to be filled with a human relationship. So even when you're on top, make sure you continue to surround yourself with talented people and ask for help. Does anybody have any questions? You can yell them out. I promise, camera, I will say it back into the microphone. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
What's your next project?
Oh, right now, we got a ton of stuff. We're working on something I'm very excited about. It is a documentary about Jack Trice and Niall Kinnock. They are true heroes that have been forgotten in a lot of ways. Their names adorn the most important buildings on campus, and yet even Hawkeye and Cyclone fans don't really know the stories of those two individuals. And Jack Trice specifically, very few people realize he is the only person to die of injuries inflicted directly on the field. He was the only African American on the field at a game against Minnesota, and he goes to complete what is called a roll block, and while he's on the ground, he gets trampled by Minnesota Gophers. And so that has been forgotten. Now, we still don't know, was there intent? Was there not intent? The documentary will explore that. But many people don't realize that Niall Kinnock, beyond the Heisman speech, dedicated himself to the military, and he ended up dying in a plane crash because he was a pilot. And I've read his memoirs. And the colorful person that is Niall Kinnock is much better than the bronze statue that stands outside of Kinnock Stadium. He is so much of an interesting figure. So that's one thing. Another thing is, maybe we haven't decided yet if we're going to be backed with ESPN this year. We'll see. It takes up a lot of time. We hope to, but we'll see. We haven't even started those negotiations. We're working on a television pilot. I can't really tell you about it at this point with maybe some of my friends that I've been making. Most of these things will never see the light of day. That's just the nature of the industry. But we just try. I have thousands of ideas. Most of them just fall flat completely. But it's those one or two things that you do that really stand out. I mean, if you saw the amount of times we tried to write a sequel to Iowa Nice before we got to Hawkeye and Cyclone Nice, you would think we were a bunch of doofuses. But we finally got there. And it's something I learned from the Toy Story guys. After they did the Pixar guys, after they did Toy Story 1, everybody said, you need to do Toy Story 2. It'll make a ton of money. And they said, we don't have anything else to say with those characters. So instead, they did A Bug's Life. And that was even bigger than Toy Story. Eventually, they got around to it, but that was a great lesson to learn, that if you don't have any more to say, maybe I should take my own advice right now, just stop talking. How much, do we got a little bit more time? One more. Anybody got anything? Anything for quantum mechanics? Yes, you.
You ever get videos of small towns?
Sure, yes, and this is one of those things. Part of the Epic Hour road trip that I liked a lot. We made little videos all along the way. I highly recommend you check those out. They're very funny. If I do say so myself, because I'm in them. And I'm not playing the Iowa Nice Guy character, so you get to see more of like what I'm doing now with the flailing and the stuttering and things of that nature. But it was cool to see a lot of those different towns already. And we had thrown around, I've written a Carol Nice. We've talked about doing a few others. And it's something that we're looking into. One company had approached us to ask us to do something. I shouldn't say their name because we weren't able to come to an agreement. But it's absolutely something. When I speak at all these small towns all around, like Centerville is one that continues to stand out because it's the same thing I see in all these different chambers I go and talk to, is that the internet is not the boogeyman. Many people who run small businesses in these small towns feel like the internet is the boogeyman, but it's not. It's the thing that can save you. It's the thing that can get your item from Centerville Main Street to Beijing, China, or to come back, Crimea. You know, that's the thing, is that the internet, if you utilize it properly, like what I'm trying to show everybody you can do, that you can take your small town brand, to a national and possibly international level. And so small towns, I love what Decorah has been doing. Bringing in, it's still a small community, but they are able to retain some people. It's a hard issue. It's hard. I know people are moving into the cities. It's a tough thing to do, but each individual city, town, small town. I come from Mount Carmel, a town of 101 people and 26 pets. We got one intersection with stop signs. And so I understand the plight of that. And I say 101 people and 26 pets because it's not that anymore. That was the census I took in 3rd grade when I was the paper boy. It's less than that now. It is hard, and there's no simple answer other than I encourage everybody to try and create their own brand, their own thing that makes them stand out among all the rest. Okay, I think I have to stop. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.